Welcome to day 15. It's lovely to be continuing this practice, and I'm delighted that those of you who've continued on these 15 days are benefiting from the practices. And if you are, please do share with others. The more people that we can get involved in this community of the rising, the better, to share the wellness, to share the awareness of ourselves, giving ourselves that special space and time for self-care, and also extending the awareness beyond ourselves to our community and to the Galway Sign-On community in particular. If you can contribute to them, that would be really wonderful. So today we are focusing on balance. And when I consider balance as a yoga practitioner, the first thing that comes to my mind actually isn't the physical balancing positions. So I think most people, when they think about balance or balancing, it's, oh, tree pose, that's us in balance. And we'll try and get to that later. But firstly, when I think about it, I think about balancing the mind and balancing the energies in the body and in the mind, in the brain. And one of the nicest ways to get into balancing the energy channels in the mind is actually through the breathing. The most popular breathing practice for balancing the brain and the energy is a breath practice called Nadi Shodhana. It's alternate nostril breathing, where you breathe in one side, out the other side, in one side, out the other side. And when we it's quite a complicated breathing practice. It takes a good few practices to get comfortable with it, so I'm going to forget about that. But if you're interested in it, look it up, alternate nostril breathing, and it works really, really well. I'm going to give us an easier version, and it is a breathing practice called Padahirasana. So it's an asana, is a posture, as well as a breathing practice. And it again works into both sides of the brain by opening up both nostrils in an equal way, in a balanced way, so that both sides of the brain feel balanced. So when we breathe in through the right nostril, the left side of the brain is fired. When we breathe through the left nostril, the right side of the brain is fired. And this happens naturally during the day. Every 90 minutes, around every 90 minutes, one side of the brain and one nostril is more flared than the other. You might like to just notice it for a moment now. You can close one nostril, breathe in and out, then close the other nostril, breathe in and out. Close your eyes for this. And notice naturally what nostril is more flared, or you can place your finger underneath your nostrils there. And you might be able to feel which nostril is breathing out with more force. Now, sometimes when our nose is blocked, this is difficult as well. So sometimes you have to have a little blow of your nose before you do these practices. Okay. All right. So, and each side of the brain works the nervous system, or activates the nervous system, fires up the nervous system. So if we are breathing it more forcefully through my brain is gone here now because I'm trying to get all of the information out to you. Okay, so if you're breathing more forcefully through the left nostril, the right side of the brain and the parasympathetic nervous system are more active and fired. And if you're breathing out through the right nostril, the left side of the brain is more fired, and the sympathetic nervous system. We don't want to be over activated in either nervous system or either side of the brain or either energy channel in the body, because we don't want to find ourselves, oh, I'm so blissed out that I just can't function, or I'm so highly alert and strong that again I can't function. We want to find ourselves somewhere in between the two. So the armpits also relate to the nostrils. Interestingly, there's a nerve somewhere in the between the fifth and sixth rib cage that activate the nostril firing as well, so we can control it. So for this breathing exercise, you can take your hands underneath your armpits here. Your thumbs can come out in front and squeeze those armpits nice and tight and drop the shoulders. I like this. It's kind of discreet. It's like a petulant toddler. had enough. So we can do this anywhere really. We can just hang out here, have a little comforting hug of ourselves, and then breathe, or balance out your nostrils, balance out your energy channels and your brain. All right, so pressing in quite strongly on the armpits into the fingers here and shoulders dropping. Now find a comfortable position. I should have said this ages ago. So sitting against the wall, sitting on a chair, you can have your feet on the mat, whatever works for you. And then close your eyes. Keep your neck nice and long, your chin in. And breathe in and out of both nostrils. And it'll take a while just to balance them out, so take your time. Breathing right down to your belly, in and out. So we're working the diaphragm. With the hands up here, you will feel how the breath naturally moves up into the rib cage. The diaphragm is helping with that movement of the rib cage, of the lung expansion. Really focusing on that flaring of the nostrils. You don't have to over flare them at all yourself, just focusing on the air coming in and out of the nose. Shoulders pressing down, squeezing the fingers. Keep on going. Keeping the eyes closed and trying 3 more rounds of breath here. Continue. Last breath in and out. And all the way out. Keep the eyes closed, releasing the hands. Pause for a moment. Allow the belly to rise and fall. Well done, and opening the eyes and allowing a little smile. Well done. Okay, so this is another tool that you can have in your utility belt or in your invisible backpack that you can pull upon at any time if you need to steady or balance, along with the other breathing practices that we've been doing. We'll come back to this again in the next few days. Okay, enough of that. Let's give the ankles a little rotation wherever you are. You can lift the feet off the ground, straight into balance. I hadn't intended on doing that. You can stretch the legs out if you need to. Look at you, you're balancing. Well done, and release. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves to standing. So taking your time, hands onto the ground. If you need to, you can step one leg forward, one leg, and then the other leg up. Well done. Okay, so to start with balance, we're going to progress from the wall yesterday. The first position against the wall was Tadasana. We were standing in the mountain pose. We had the big toes together to begin with. This was the harder version. Remember, the heels were back at the skirting board. The shoulder blades were open and down. The hands are facing forward. Well done. If this is too difficult, work the feet wider and just begin to lengthen the neck, crown of the head up, and slowly, slowly begin to play with this a little, allowing the weight to move forward and back from the heels to the toes, and just sensing how that is to feel steady, or to not feel steady, to do the opposite, to rock forward and back. And breathe in and out of the nostrils as you do this. And see how extreme you can take this. How far can you bring the weight forward? Maybe lifting the heels. How far can you take the weight back? Have a little smile to yourself if you begin to fall off. Woo, well done. Forward and back. Breathe into it. Notice what happens when you begin to fall. You begin to lose your balance. What happens to the brain? What happens to the breath? Do you become stressed? Does it irritate you that you can't do it correctly? And then use those yoga practices that we've been working on to steady and calm, to still, to stay connected. Beautiful. Okay, coming somewhere between those exaggerated positions and not too far forward, not too far back. Well done. Try to straighten the legs as much as you can here, so we're not going into a soft knee position. We're just going to work into the ankle stability a little bit as we transfer the weight over to one foot and slowly pushing that standing leg into the ground. Take the other leg off the mat, so really strong and stable through the ankle. So see if you can lift one foot off the mat, the foot stays parallel. Good, shoulders are down. Well done. Breathe, straighten both legs. Yeah, you don't need to bend the knee at all. Well done. Try to do this without sticking your bum back or your ribs forward, so trying to hover. Well done for a moment. Breathe into it. Good, so really stabilizing through the standing leg. Good, this is really helpful for ankle stability, hip stability, working the muscles of the inner and outer hip. Beautiful, breathe through it and come back to center. Have a little bend of the knees and straighten. And then we go to the other side, so transferring over, straighten that standing leg, raise the other foot off the mat and breathe there. In and out of the nostrils to begin. Stay here long enough until you feel the hip is really alive, the ankle is really working. Breathe into it. Pelvic lilting, this is called. Well done, breathing happily, smiling, and coming back to the center. Well done. And again, just rocking right and left through the legs. Beautiful. And coming back again somewhere between those exaggerated right and left positions. Okay, the next exercise that we, actually before we go on to that next one, where we were at the wall, we're going to continue from here in Tadasana. You can work the feet a little closer, see, just challenging yourself a bit from that mountain pose to slowly move the weight forward and then raise the heels fully off the ground. See how that feels. Now notice, do you wobble right or left? Do the ankles fall out? Try to keep them really strong. If it's too much with straight knees, of course, you can bend the knees here. Again, just watching for the lower back and the ribs, pulling the front ribs in, the sit bones down to the heels. Breathing there. Heels raised. Let's try here to raise the arms up above the head, stuff we've been working on. So reaching up to the highest shelf. Breathe, straightening, lifting the heels up high, reaching those shoulder blades up, tracking them up the spine. Breathe, lifting the shoulders. And from here, might it be possible to bend the knees? Now continue to breathe. So feel like your fingers, your shoulder blades are being drawn up towards the sky, and your sit bones are working down towards your heels. But again, you're trying not to stick your bum back or your sit bones down, or your ribs forward. So you're working your sit bones just towards the heels. Breathe as you do this. Well done. Really, really strong and steady. One more breath. If at any time it's too much, you lower your heels down. And then lowering the heels, bending the elbows and releasing. Well done. Similar pose now, feet a little bit wider. So this is the one that we did against the wall. You remember? We slid the spine down the wall and we sat down into that chair pose. Remember, the quads were on fire. So see if you can, this time you have to work your buttocks back a little bit, sit down into it and raise the arms up. If it feels okay, try not to let the knees roll together. Good, lifting into those strong feet and breathe. And then if it feels all right, maybe heels off the mat. Breathe into this. So you're balancing. Well done. And if you wish, you can add a little wrist rotation. Remember, I talked about adding layers of distraction. Opposite direction, circling around. So you're forgetting about the thighs and the knees here. You just bring the awareness into your breath and into your wrists. Well done. Reaching forward, lower with the heels. Breathe in and breathe out. Pause for a moment and notice how you feel. Maybe draw the feet a little closer together, back into that mountain pose. Arms open, shoulder blades together. One more breath. Beautiful. Okay, so moving on. We brought ourselves from that chair pose against the wall into the forward fold. So let's try it now. So this time, feet hip width apart. Remember, we started with bent knee and we started to take the elbows onto the thighs. So you'll remember this from yesterday against the wall. If you did it, dropping the shoulders, breathe here. And then gently taking the belly onto the thighs. So we do this with bent knee. We want to lengthen between the sit bones up to the lower rib cage first before we ever think about straightening the legs in a forward bend. So trying to feel this for yourself. Hands to the ground if they reach, or just keeping the elbows on the thighs with the shoulders down. You can wrap the arms behind the knees if that feels okay, or hang out there, hands down, elbows down. And to work a little bit on the balance here, we're going to try to transfer or rock the weight forward to the toes and then back to the heels, and breathing into this. So this balance session is really an important practice at this time for those of you that are doing this live in the middle of June, when we're just transitioning between one phase and the next in our lives here. Balance is a really nice practice to come to. It's really important to give ourselves the time and the space to consider, how do we find stillness in all of the chaos that might be going on around us? How do we find our focus? How do we find our calm place? And we do this through the physical body, through the breath, through relaxation, and mostly through awareness, listening, feeling, sensing how things are for ourselves. That's how we can rediscover our balance. So pushing into the feet, pressing somewhere balanced in between the front and the back of the foot, push down strongly, slowly roll up, maybe elbows onto thighs, or allowing the chin and the head to drop and rolling all the way up to standing. Push through those feet and slowly bring yourself up to standing nice and tall. Well done. And then considering for a moment, you're going to go for a walk. So when I ask people, usually in classes, to go into balance, immediately the head goes, I can't balance. I don't know how to do this. And then I remind them, think about walking. When you walk, you bring the weight from one foot to the other, you lift up and you step forward. Yeah, it's that easy. If you can walk, you can balance. Okay, so just thinking about it for a moment. Weight moves from one foot to the other. Push down into the standing leg, lift the opposite foot, breathe there as if you're about to take a step. And instead of taking a step, lift the thigh a little higher, breathe into that. Well done. Then opening that leg out to the side, see how that goes. Roll it back in, baby steps, and lower back down. Well done. We're taking a step to the other side with the other leg leading. So weight onto one foot, lifting up, breathe there as if we're about to walk, breathe. Breathe, 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 smile, 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 thigh up to belly, maybe moving it out to the side. You see, you can do it. And lower down. Well done. Okay, to the first side again, pushing down into the foot, lifting that other leg. Breathe, move it out to the side. Breathe. Hug the thigh in and see if you can take the foot anywhere on the other leg. So either above the knee or below the knee though, okay? And if you wish, toes to the ground, breathe. Now you're in the tree pose. Be like a tree, reach out with your branches, lift up in your heart. It's okay for a tree to sway, yeah, but try to keep rooted into the ground. Well done. Feel those roots pressing down. Good. Slowly rolling in, and then to the other side, pressing down, lifting up, rolling out to the side. Well done. Feel that tree. You can place the foot wherever you like. Breathe. Roll in and release down. Well done. Pause for a moment, hands onto your belly, closing your eyes, and come back to your breath. In and out of the nostrils, eyes are closed. Took my time, great. And then we try that the breathing practice again. So taking the hands underneath the armpits. You can do it standing up now, shoulder blades dropping. Good. Well done. Padahirasana, squeezing those armpits, knees gently bent. Well done. Feet a little closer if you feel like it. And let's try 5 rounds in this standing position. Soften the forehead, soften the jaws, the throat, the eyes. 4 more. Big belly as you breathe in. Relax belly as you breathe out. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Well done, and you can stay here for a few more moments, continuing with your breathing like this, or you might like to bring it to sitting, or you can do this even lying on your back with the hands under the armpits like this for a few more moments if you have the space, if you have the time. I told you at the beginning of this practice I could do 20 sessions on balance alone, so it's hard for me to get it all into this timing. If you have space to have a little break for yourself now, do another maybe 5 minutes of resting on your back or with the breathing practice. Thank you so much. I really enjoy these practices. And I look forward to sharing more with you tomorrow. And we finish on Sunday. So, and on Sunday, it is the dip and donate, or between the weekend from Saturday to Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the longest day weekend for Galway Simon. Dip and donate if you can after you've done your yoga practice or any time during the day over that weekend. I'll remind you again, you can dip into the sea and then donate to Galway Simon. They'd really appreciate it. Thank you.